Welcome to the One Day at a Time Recovery Podcast, where my guests share their stories of addiction, how they recovered, and the tools and practices they use to stay sober now. Well, Frank, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm so excited. I've never met anybody that's had a heart transplant. So
I didn't either until I had one.
so you have you met a bunch of people with heart
Oh,
transplants?
forget it. Now I'm like, yeah, like they call me. I'm on social media. I know, like I had one. My friend Chad just had one. Well, I met him through social media. Yeah.
Whoa, that's
I,
intense.
I a lot of people reach out to me now. And I also go to the
Yeah.
hospital where I had it, and I go and I bring encouragement to the ones that are waiting. You know?
Ooh, waiting. Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
intense. Good for you. Yeah, you're an encourager. I got that about you right away. My dad's name is Frank, so I was like, I'm gonna like this guy. This is gonna be this is good. This is gonna be good. I like to start the conversations with a little game I like to call the lightning round, which is very slow. I say that every time a friend of mine just called me out on it. I'm like, I can't help it. But when you first got sober, were there any books that really spoke to you or helped you out early in recovery?
Well, I mean, early, obviously, I was big into the 12 steps early on, and I still am. I love the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't go to as many meetings as I used to. I'm not as involved, but definitely the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous was the foundation of my sobriety early on.
Yeah.
But then from there was like many different books that I read. I read like Bob Proctor's The Art of Living. I got very into law of attraction early on into
Same.
recovery. I read
Yeah.
Many Lives, Many Masters, which is like a
Oh
spiritual
man,
book about
that was a
past
trip.
lives.
That book
Yeah,
was a trip. The whole
yeah,
idea. Isn't the whole idea about like
past
reincarnation
lives.
and past
hmm
lives? Yeah.
hmm Yeah,
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 that
yeah.
was really interesting.
So yeah, The Secret, Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. And then I started to get into other books like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People and Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. But from a spiritual foundation, it was like those on the early Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth and Power of Now.
Yeah.
Those were like big ones that I really, really, really got. And they help and all these things, by the way, helped me
hmm
face and overcome what I did and respond in the manner that I did when I faced everything that I did.
That was wild. Yeah, all this stuff, it's so amazing because like we get sober and we sort of get introduced to this way of personal development and
hmm
introspection. And it's very like it was like my new favorite drug. It was like the getting all the insights and learning about wow, there's so much more to life than
So much more to life than this programming and system that we've been in. It's just
yeah,
beautiful. And it's those layers is what create our life when we really the self-reflection, self-accountability, being aware of self, looking at the patterns. Like when you become so aware that you start to see patterns come, and it's like going against the old belief systems
yeah,
or like the mind and like really like being like I have to go in a whole new direction. My stomach's telling me to go in this direction, but my mind is telling me you shouldn't go in this direction. But every time you follow the gut, then you
yeah,
create a whole new life for yourself.
yeah. I,
People don't
I
realize
I
that
love that
everybody has that in them to evolve at any time.
at any time.
Just get caught in belief systems and programming.
Yeah. Yeah, we really do. And I love the idea of intentional setting intentions and living,
Yes.
following that inner compass, trust your gut type of thing. I know in early recovery, I didn't have a lot of self-trust. I don't know how you felt like early recovery, like there wasn't a lot of self-trust. There wasn't a lot of trusting the
No,
gut.
not at all. In the
That comes
beginning, I
later.
actually remember my sponsor. I was like, Anthony, I've been thinking. He's like, listen, I told you to think. And he was like, right. In the beginning, I couldn't. I was like,
Told you to
I
think.
needed like, like a daily
Yeah,
walk, and which is great. I needed like a daily walk and I needed to kind of be told like what to do and where to
that's
go. And
not funny.
in the beginning,
Yeah, in the
because like,
beginning.
yeah, in the beginning, I really did. I'm
We're very
sober almost
confused.
14 years now, the
Yeah.
very beginning, I needed a lot of guidance. I
As do
used for a
we
long
all.
time.
As do we all. That's fair. We were talking just before we hit record about I always ask about morning routines because I feel like the way you start the day kind of sets the intention and carries you through. What is your morning do you do your self-care practice in the morning?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
What does that look
So it's
like?
usually wake up. It's prayer. Wake up 6 a.m. It depends. Sometimes it's earlier, but
Hmm.
usually 6 a.m. Prayer, meditation. Then I set intention for the day. I set my intention for the day after the
What was
prayer
your
and
intention for
meditation.
today?
Today, get lined up and everything. I know I had my coaching, but like get organized in the day. What's the intention? So it was like coaching program, daily habits, start my morning with my morning routine, my workout, coach my client, work with my team at one of my companies, lunchtime, work with you. After this, there's another meeting. Then it's pick my son up. I have to practice with him baseball, family dinner time, a little bit work on some other stuff, then it's going to be self-reflection and self-accountability.
Oh, nice.
But
So you
I
do your
start my day with prayer, meditation, intention, water before I have the coffee. Water.
ah,
Then I'll have my coffee. If I have time, it's going to be a reading and a journaling, but it's definitely a workout. That's
okay.
non-negotiable, the workout.
Yeah, yeah,
And then what I'll do is I'll have a healthy meal and I'll try to get some sunlight if it's nice outside.
yeah,
Then what I'll do later in the day, I set timer to like I learned this from David Goggins, but it's taking the mental aid station,
yeah,
and like taking that time in the day to maybe go ground, where I'll
yeah,
sit and I'll stand in dirt or in grass. If I'm
yeah.
home and I'm working from home, I'll literally take time. Literally, if I'm like today, I'm home, I'll go out later and I will ground. I'll put my feet in the grass, take my shirt off, and I'll make the sun hit my body.
Nice. Oh,
And
I
I
love that.
reflect in the day because it gives us more energy to move through what we
Mm,
need to. I have an 8-year-old boy as well, so it's like baseball practice. Like on top of I have multiple businesses that I'm involved in. So it's
mm.
like to set that intention is extremely important for the
Yeah,
day and have your
absolutely.
daily habits, the non-negotiables that you show up in
Yeah,
daily because that's going to
daily.
create a life. So
I
it's like
love
at
that.
the end of the day, then I look at my self-reflection and my self-accountability. Did I fall short? Was I my best self today? And then just try to
Yeah.
become better the next day in all areas of my life.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, it takes a lot of discipline, but when you were talking, I kind of wrote down energy management. Like that's a great way to manage your energy and be very intentional about focusing on things that are positive because that is so nourishing and just helps with momentum and that mo positive momentum.
Oh,
So
without a doubt. I
yeah, I
mean,
love all
listen,
that.
what I've learned through everything, and especially what I've been through, is we get caught up in because we live in the system and we have to make money. But our
Mhm,
true currency and the way we would make more money as well for everybody out there is our true currency is our frequency. It's our internal vibration.
mhm,
So like if we looked at life in those terms and in the terms of like our true wealth is our health.
mhm.
Like if people really wrap their mind around that, they would truly create abundance with their life. It has
Yeah,
nothing to do with the external world. It has everything to do with the internal world.
100%. I love
We
that you're
all
wearing
get old. We all
your
get old.
embrace abundance
Yeah,
sweatshirt
yeah.
and yeah, yeah, because
Yeah.
listen, and I'm going to ask you about that a little bit later because I do want to get to your story, but this idea of shifting our mentality from, early in recovery, there's a lot of like heal your past, but I want to, have a conversation around creating abundance, like living in abundance. And so this is like perfect timing. One more question before we kind of get to your story is there anything that you wish you would have known when you first got sober?
Wow. That's a good question.
I
Anything
should
I
have
would have
prepped you
known.
for that. Do you know what mine was?
Yeah, let
Um,
me hear that.
Mine is I wish I knew that it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. It was my responsibility, but it wasn't my fault. Like I had all this underlying trauma that was compelling me to drink and I didn't know. And
Yeah.
that wasn't my fault that I had that. But once I knew, then it was my responsibility to take care of it. So I kind of wish I would have
Yeah.
known that sooner because I walked around with a lot of guilt at first.
I didn't. I had such a long road to recover. I grew up in such insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Let's
grew
get
up in.
into it. Tell me about that. Didn't you say you like grew up with a mob or something?
So I grew up on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in the late 70s, 1979 I was born. So my family owns what's called Parisi Bakery. It's been there since 1903. It's been in my family. I
Wow.
grew up on Elizabeth Street between Bleecker and Houston Street, around the corner from the first ever punk rock club, CBGB.
Okay.
And then also down the street from the first ever hip hop studio, Def Jam Studios. It was the first Def
Really?
Jam.
Very
And then
cool.
2 blocks from the Ravenite Social Club, which was John Gotti's social club. My whole neighborhood was filled with the mafia. I grew up in Little Italy in Manhattan.
Mm.
And then, and with that, uh, my family was, my father was involved with that, with that life. And uh, my upbringing was not normal. I have a little boy and we live with deer and, I created this life, which is great. And not everyone everyone, we grow up different, right? I grew up in a different environment than what my son has today. And I've developed a new human being to create this new life. But people only know what they know, and they could only be able to survive in the environment that you're in. It's different. You grow up in an
Yeah.
environment like that or have to operate in that environment. So in front of my building, there would be activity sometimes, like crack hit the street big time,
Oh,
and you're talking
in the
about the Lower East
70s.
Side, yeah, early 80s,
Okay.
AIDS just came out, crack cocaine hit, and it was like in my neighborhood rampant. You
Right.
understand? So my uncles and dad would leave baseball bats in front of the bakery and like for protection because the cops
Mm.
were never coming. And so like when things weren't being done down the block to keep the front of the building safe, I was a little kid. I would watch grown men get, baseball bat beatings, So that was like the environment of what I grew up in. It's not funny. It's just the environment, and my father was involved with organized crime. So, you follow suit in what you see and you become, It doesn't
How
matter
old?
what people say. You got to realize back then there's no internet.
Right.
So you only know what you see.
Yeah.
You know
How old
nothing
were
else.
you? How old were you when you first witnessed your father, maybe your uncles using baseball bats on people? Do you remember, have
Like
like a recollection?
3, 4,
Oh, super young.
very young. Yeah. I remember one instance where my father told the guy, you got to go down the street and do what you got to do. And it was an abandoned car. The guy told him to go F himself. And my father came out and just started like crippling the guy and with a bat. And then the cops actually did come this one time and they arrested my dad. And my father told him there's like a needle in the car. AIDS just came out. They go in the car.
Oh,
The cop gets stuck with the. This is how crazy the neighborhood was. The cop gets stuck with the needle, and uncuffs my dad, and they crippled the guy with the bat with their billy clubs. Like that's the
wow.
insanity of like what the city was, and what you grow up in. So you're like programming is complete. It's like kind of like you're programmed. Like this is like you're born like nice and pure, but then like your upbringing, your environment.
Yeah.
Mine was like this, and then it was like I had now go operate in that system. But it's
Right.
like I don't have a system to operate in. There's like no
Right.
stability at home. My father's addicted to drugs. Like
Oh, was he?
can't tell anybody, he had a cocaine
Wow.
problem where he would do it, 2, 3 days, like every so often. But it would be like the rage with that. There was drug addiction, selling drugs, organized crime. It was just a lot of insanity.
Where was your
Dad in and
mom
out
in
of
all this?
jail.
Yeah.
She's just like a bystander in it, She's, trying her best to do her best to navigate through the situation. I mean, what do you do in those situations? Like I'm
Was
older
she not
now and
using
I've done
drugs?
work. No, no, no. She did when she was like younger, but like it wasn't a thing of, and she had me very young. They both had me very young.
How old
Products
were
of
they
their
when they had you?
environment, 24 and 20.
Oh, your mom was 20?
Yeah,
That's
so very
young.
yeah, so
Yeah.
like as you get older and you do your work and you do your healing, you see that. See, that's the thing though. I know why all this happened to me. You understand like the heart transplant. It has nothing to do with like science or logic. It has everything to do with spirituality. And like me being the one in my family. You understand? Like God needed to remove this
Yeah.
so I could be the one, so I could be here longer. I changed the DNA. There's never a
Yeah.
victim in life. You know what I mean?
I do.
There's always lessons, but we
Yeah.
become like the flea. Like, the flea in the mason jar. I always talk about this. It's not mine, it's scientific. Like, fleas can jump 3 to 6 feet, but they put a flea in a mason jar, a whole bunch of fleas, and they put the lid on the mason jar for 2 weeks. They take the lid off, the fleas get conditioned, so they just jump to the top, even though they could jump out, and then they have babies, and the babies can jump out, but they just jump to the top. So it's like somebody's got to jump out of the damn mason jar at some point. I'm the one.
You're the
God chose
one.
me to be the one, though.
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
God
but
gave me
let's
this.
yeah, like we're gonna get there, but let's talk about like how did we get here? Because your sobriety date is July 31st of 2011. I don't know when people are gonna hear this. Um so you've been sober for a long time, but how did we get here? Because I know that we're in recovery from opiates. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
How old were you when you started using?
Well, I started smoking weed at like 12 years old, but I started doing like harder drugs. Like opiates, I tried at like 16, but I didn't really get hooked on them until probably like early 20s. And I
Um,
battled with that until 31 years old. I had like 1 year of sobriety in between there.
mhm.
But I didn't continue down the path. Like I was still holding on to things. I
Yeah,
was still not willing to let go of certain resentments.
I
I was still
do.
holding on, and I was still somewhat of a young knucklehead. I was still unclear on who I was. Even though I was in my 20s, I was still a kid. I was
Yeah,
not a man yet,
yeah,
in my thinking. I wasn't clear on who I was. I wasn't confident in who I was. There was more work that had to get done, and I was unable to get to that place to do it. So I reverted back to what I knew, you know,
yeah,
the comfort of the thing, even though it's the thing that brings me down the darkest road. Uh, it's that comfort, but it's like that's why it's like that's why the patterns come up in life,
yeah, they
you
do.
know,
Tell
and you
me
get to see
about,
them.
yeah, tell me about, you've had some time to reflect about why you started using and stuff like that. It sounds like there was a lot of violence and stuff when you were growing up. Are you like clear about what compelled you to start using in the first place so
Yeah,
young?
of course. I mean, like the instability at home. Like I love my parents. I love my dad's not here no more. I love my father. But I feel like knowing today, doing the inner child work,
Mhm.
doing that, I needed more love and stability.
Yeah,
So, and I didn't get that. It was a lot of traumatic events that I experienced as a kid into adulthood, and just a lot of insanity, and it just hijacked my central nervous system. It takes a long time, a lot of work to be able to regulate all that and be able to learn from all of these events. It's a lot
yeah,
of work. It takes time, a lot of time when it's like years of trauma and traumatic events, and then being conditioned to live like in insanity.
yeah,
It
yeah,
takes a long time to unravel that. But the beautiful thing about that is that once you do and you go through so much, like I have, and you heal, you could help so many people.
yeah,
So many
yeah.
people.
People need to know that there's hope that you can survive trauma.
Oh, yes.
What kind of, this is always like a weird question, like, oh, tell me about the worst thing that happened to you. But it's like people really relate to specific kinds of a trauma. I had some physical abuse. My parents' divorce was really traumatic for me. Had, my parents were good people like you, but like they were only human and so that's kind of how the flavor of trauma I had. But I think it's always helpful for people
Well,
listening
mine
to,
is I watched my father suffer an addiction. I watched
yeah,
violence, crazy. I watched my parents not really support one another, constantly fight with one another. Always fearing, my dad would get killed if I would get killed, like things that are not normal, on top of going to New York City public school and having a fight and being called white boy and all that stuff, and, having to always just fight with the neighborhood and then go home to the insanity. It was just like, um, I mean, it was just, I mean, if you looking at it now and like you were talking about it, it's just like, it's just like the whole thing was like a big ball of uck.
yeah,
Do you know what I
lots of
mean?
violence. You were always unsafe.
I always in a fight or flight.
Yeah.
Always. Like the bear was always in the room, even if it wasn't, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had to develop a lot of survival skills. That makes
A
sense.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the
But it
drugs and
makes you,
alcohol.
once you sharpen the swords, because I talk about sharpening the swords,
Yeah.
it makes you like, nothing can stop us. You know what I mean? You know
Yes,
what I mean?
I do. I do. Yes, when you develop all these survival skills, you do tend to be able
Yeah,
to
and then you
withstand.
master them, and then you master it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
Never
then
a victim in life. Never a victim in life.
yeah.
Never.
People are going to have to watch the video interview of this. You're hilarious. You're so animated. Okay, so let's talk about how you got sober. What happened? Is there a story behind why you
There
decided to?
is. There's the day. I mean, there's a million stories. You know what I mean? There's a million insane
Let's hear
stories.
some.
But why on that day, on July 31st, 2011? I don't know. It's God's grace. God's real. A higher power is real. There is a spirit of the universe. We're on a ball of mass. We're talking from Idaho and Texas
So
through a
crazy.
screen. How is this happening? You know what I mean?
I do.
There's Wi-Fi, there's oxygen, you know what I mean?
So
There's more stuff happening out here, but we're like, nah, there's not. Yeah, no, there is. There's a lot more
right,
happening than breakfast, lunch, dinner, and what are we having for fun? You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, anyway, I just went off on a tangent. What was your question?
Why did you decide to get sober? Like, when did you know?
July
Like,
31st, it came. It just, I don't
yeah.
know. It was like a million reasons. I've been in and out of jail and drug
Mm,
rehabs and hospitals, overdoses. I mean, the gamut, it's me.
yeah.
But July 31st, a guy comes knocking on the door. I'm living in like a complete like shack, Midland Beach in Staten Island. I know this guy for years, but he comes knocking for money that I owe him from the street. It's like $200. My wife's an attorney. My wife also used to defend me in court. She's an attorney. She's an attorney. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. That's how bad I
hilarious.
got. How crazy, I know.
That's so
She
funny.
never changed her name for like 3 years, you know. But here she is working on Wall Street. This is like, because you're a terrorist in addiction. I'm a terrorist. And I don't know how she stood with me. I feel like God sent her into my life because without her, I'm not who I am.
How old were you
So
when you met her?
us, we've been together since we were like 17 years old.
Oh my
So
goodness, you're a
45.
baby. So you were with her when she went through law school and all that?
Everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. I cannot.
Everything.
Wow, she stayed with you through all that nonsense.
Everything. Yeah. All
Wow,
of it.
that's
And
amazing.
she comes out with uh, a check paying my debt. Grown man. Can you believe it? But it's good for the listeners to hear this stuff,
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
the humility to talk about this stuff because, from that we get to help so many people. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And here she comes paying my debt and 31 years old. Do you believe this? But for whatever reason, I looked myself in the mirror that day and I said, it doesn't matter how you got here.
mm,
You're in a ditch. You're not a victim no more. It doesn't matter how you got in the ditch because if you keep worrying about how you got in the ditch and you're upset about all this stuff, you're never getting out of it. Your
right.
only focus has to be evolution, elevation, creation, and service. It was like, get back in and let's do this thing. And that's what I did. And for the past 14 years, I've been about God, recovery, personal development, and service of others. And I've developed a whole new human being. So I went from that guy that couldn't afford $200, that who was $50,000 in debt, who was like a hostage taker to my wife, to a good father, to a good husband, to a good friend, a good business partner. I have multiple businesses, like I've developed a new human being through that process, through my daily habits,
Mhm.
through God, through recovery, through personal development, the daily habits, and other personal development, and the service of others. And anybody can evolve and elevate. That is who we are here to be. We're in these bodies. I'm not Frank Parisi. That's a name that was given to me. I'm a light, sound, and vibration and frequency in this body that creates. That's why our frequency is our currency, because how I vibrate is what I'm going to attract into my life. And and I really, really tapped in. I knew that when I first got sober, but when all this stuff happened with me, with all this, then I saw it, because you see in suffering, when you're still and everything's taken from you, you get to really learn which way are you gonna go? Are you gonna go in which, and it's all within. It's all from within. Whenever we go through the hardest of times, it's never victim, it's always victor. And it's never like, why me? It's what's the gift in what I'm going through, and what am I
Mhm.
going to become because of it? And when you live
Oh,
in
that's so
that,
good.
your whole entire mindset changes. But
Mhm.
that's it. You can't live in what happened. It's full acceptance. It's like I teach my
Mhm.
kids. I coach my son's flag football team. I don't care if they win or lose. Same in my life. Did I put my 110 in? That's all that matters. And what's next?
Mhm.
It don't matter. Last play's dead. Did we good play, a bad play? Do we put our 110 in? Good. Next play. What's
Mhm.
next?
Mhm.
That's the mindset in life. And that people get hung, that's why people get hung up, because they get trapped in that. Whatever that experience is, whatever that resentment is, you got to move through it.
Yeah.
And the faster you can move through and accept whatever experience, and then look at what's next for you, the faster your life moves, and you move real fast. Then you start bringing in that same vibration with you, the same
Yeah.
people, or then you move faster and further.
Yeah.
So that's what I've created and learned through this whole process. It's very deep, and maybe not everyone's going to get it. I think you're getting it.
Yeah, no, I'm super into it. Like I'm into all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like I really it was interesting because before I got sober, I was introduced it was a late night thing. I saw Tony Robbins and bought a 30-day cassette program. That's how long ago it was. I've been sober for 30
Mhm.
years, so this was probably 2 years before that. But I was introduced to this idea that if you change your mind, you can change your life. And it was like a
Absolutely.
seed that was planted. So by the time I was ready to get sober, I was able to go through the 12-step process. It sounds like you went through the 12-step process too to get sober.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so once the addiction was addressed, then it was like, oh my gosh, like anything is possible after that. And I had a, connection to a higher power. Tell me a little bit about the 12-step experience and how your higher power sort of played into that. Like, did you always have a concept of God?
Yeah, I mean, I went to like church and stuff, but I never had a relationship
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, the 12 steps would help for me to do is have, I mean, I could really relate it more into like what I just went through. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
But, and I don't want to get into that until you ask me about that. But,
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
will.
but, early in recovery, it was more about peeling away some of the layers so that I could start to have that. It wasn't fully, it was gradual.
Mhm.
It was okay. I totally get that I'm powerless. Like
Mhm.
we're fully aware that I cannot stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That day,
It was
July
not
31st,
ambiguous.
he gave me that like moment of clarity because there was way
Okay.
worse days than that day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
then like, okay, we're here. All right. God is everything. He's nothing. Second step, I'm all with that. Like, yeah, I'm down with that because I don't got nothing right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I do.
Third step, I'm gonna turn my will and my life over to this. And then like 4 through 9, now I get to like peel away some of this stuff and
Hmm.
have some self accountability, self reflection, some humility, because now I get to share this fourth step with another individual and admit my faults. Maybe get to see some of my defects of character in this stuff, start to become aware of it in the 10th and the 11th step. In the ninth step, I go and I make amends to those who I've harmed, owning my part, not just from a place of like, I'm sorry, but what can I do to make this right? And
There it
be
is.
willing to make that right. The action steps that I'm willing to take, what they ask me to do, that's making it right. And just
Yeah.
living in that 10 and 11. And again, I don't attend as much. I'm not as involved with AA as I used to be. I will attend a meeting from time to time, like, but it's not like I don't have a home group. I did it for a long time, but I live this work.
Yeah.
Like I serve everywhere that I go. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
And I live that work. I embody that body of work along with
Yeah.
other things as well.
Yeah.
It's just years of like putting it into the toolbox. It becomes part of you.
Yeah. It becomes second nature.
Yeah.
So you live this way for a long time. You develop this practice of self-reflection, taking responsibility, you're feeding your brain, your heart and soul. And then you have this event that causes you to have a heart transplant. What led up to that?
So I had a cough that I developed in 2023 January. So I'm like, I travel a lot. So I'm in like th 3 regions of the country, Cali, New York, Florida, here. So I go to 2 primary care physicians because the cough keeps happening. They keep giving me allergy medication and it's not going away. So now it's like it goes from like and during this time now I'm getting really sick. It gets really trippy. I'm getting very sick during this time and uh now I'm starting to feel like really bad. I'm like losing weight. I'm gonna start to go see specialists now. So I make appointments. And during this time now I'm starting to feel really weird. I want to be near my father and my mother.
Mm.
Okay. So I book an appointment out with a medium on I don't know, maybe like in February, right? While this is happening. So I don't have the appointment with this lady till like May 18th. I'm gonna do a virtual appointment with her, right? Things are starting to feel weird with me. I'm starting to feel like detached from life. It's really odd what's like these feelings that are coming up in me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So now and the coughs keep going on. So now I make an appointment with a gastrointestinal, a pulmonologist, and a cardiologist. Because I'm losing weight, but I'm still working out. I've been working out since I'm like 14 years old. So I go to the gastrointestinal, everything comes back good. I go to the pulmonologist. I have a cardiologist appointment the week after. The pulmonologist says that they do a testing because I got testing done with the gastro, then I got testing done with the pulmonologist. He goes that you have rare pneumonia called organizing pneumonia. 3% of the population has it after COVID. They're gonna put you on 60 milligrams of prednisone for 6 months and taper you down. And then 2000, we're going to start with 2000 milligrams of amoxicillin. You're going to be on like some antibiotic for at some time. So I start the therapy. I canceled the cardiologist appointment because
Oh, shoot.
a, I just went to the pulmonologist
Yeah.
specialist who just told me that this is what I have. And so I start the therapies a couple weeks into this and it's getting worse now. Now it's getting bad. It's like I'm like not eating. I'm like I am feeling very sick. And like everyone's telling me it's the prednisone, the cough's now all night. I'm like, I can't even breathe. I feel like I'm having panic attacks, like my chest is hurting, and they're giving me more medication. So then on May 8th, I cough up this much blood. And I tell everybody, I've been telling everyone, I feel like I'm dying. So I go to the hospital here in Austin, and so the pulmonologist says we're gonna have to admit you. So I have no family here. So they admit me into the hospital there, and now I'm in like I guess the emergency room. And my wife has to leave because I have my son, 6 years old at the time, and so no one's here to watch him. So finally, they're like, he has sepsis, like May. They think I have
Oh my
sepsis.
God.
Yeah. So they start pumping me like 17 liters full of fluid. And I'm there for like 8 hours, right? And then I want to show you this real quick.
Mm.
So if you see my arm, you see my arm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It
Yeah,
looks like a
so
bruise around your
yeah,
bicep.
that happened like as a result of them trying to put like a pick in my arm.
Oh, did it get infected?
No, it just never went in the vein. It never
Oh,
went in the vein,
yeah.
and the medication infiltrated my arm from the inside out.
So that discoloration around your bicep, is that like a
It was
permanent,
it was a
like a scar?
it was a third degree burn that had
Burn.
happened. So I had a third degree burn, and then a doctor finally finds out that he goes, Mr. Parisi, you don't have sepsis, you have 9% ejection fraction. Your heart and your liver and your kidneys are failing.
Oh my God.
And we're going to take you to not Houston, San Antonio, Austin, or Dallas. We're going to take you to Temple, Texas, of all places.
Is that like a level one trauma center?
Yes, it's one of the best cardiothoracic units, but think of the
Oh,
word. Think of the word. Temple, Texas.
taking you to Temple.
There's 20,000 people in Temple, Texas. And they're telling me this is the place that's gonna go save my life. So I want you to have an open mind around everything that I'm gonna talk to you about because it has nothing to do with here.
Okay.
And I don't care anymore. So it's like I'm open to it,
Lay it on me.
and I'm just gonna keep sharing about it because I do it everywhere and it's just the truth of what everything is.
Okay.
So I go up to Temple, Texas with the ambulance, and this is why recovery, personal development, constant growth is so important because if I'm the old version of myself facing what I'm about to face, I don't face it the way I do.
Mhm.
So I have now, this doctor just told me, this is where they're going to save your life. When I woke up on May 8th, I did not think that I was dying at that moment. But now here I am, and they're telling me that like, they're taking me up there to save my life. I have 9% of my heart that's working.
Wow.
So I go up there an hour and a half from Austin, and my wife is there waiting with a picture of my son, begging me to live.
Oh my God.
And I have 10 minutes to sit with her because they're telling her that they got to put me on this ventilator and maybe this machine called ECMO machine, which
Hmm.
is the most advanced form of life support. So, like, picture that.
Heavy.
See, that's the thing
Hmm.
about AA. Sometimes with people, they go in a room, and I'm gonna just be honest there. They go in a room and they parrot page 20, whatever.
Hmm.
See, I live it. You understand?
Hmm.
God is everything or he is nothing. You understand what I'm telling you right now? No, no,
Hmm.
like God is I'm about to die. God is everything or he is nothing. You understand? Like
Yeah.
different than what page 23 says.
Hmm.
I'm about to die. God is everything or he is nothing. If you want me, let's go. So there's a doctor there named Dr. Reddy. He's not there no more. He brings his whole team from New York. The whole team's from New York. That's why this hospital is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's like There's like a bunch of doctors, all from New York, Lenox Hill, Mount Sinai. So he brings them with him. I die, I code. I have an out of body experience.
Oh,
I'm looking down at Frank Parisi and Kathy Parisi, and I'm on a ventilator. And I'm in this dark space, but I could see down, like through this, and everything's energy. I was with my friend that I had helped years ago, because I've helped a ton of people since I've been sober, and he's dead. And he was there to take me. There was a voice telling me that he's here to take me. And at that time, see, that's why I know everything in my life, why I'm here. I know my whole purpose. I know my whole purpose. I had a vision of my son growing up without me. So I said, I have to come back for him. And I said to myself, maybe this didn't happen. Maybe that, like, this didn't happen. Maybe that was like delusion because this, like, I just died.
when you were looking down, were you scared at all?
No, I just felt my body float. Like, I felt myself float out.
Felt floating. Yeah.
No scared at all. I
No
was ready
fear.
to die. If my wife didn't come with the picture of my son, I don't think I make it.
Wow. So you
Yeah,
had a
like I
vision
was
of
so
your
sick,
you had a vision of
walking
your
with another
son growing
man.
up
Yeah, he was
without you.
walking with another man in my vision.
Mm. Yeah.
So I come back and now I'm in a bed for 9 days. I'm in a bed for, could you imagine this? I'm in a bed for 9 days and I have doctors walking in with hazmat suits. And yeah, I know, it doesn't make sense, none of this.
This is
It's gonna get,
prior to the heart transplant.
no,
Like you
I'm in the
haven't
bed now for 9 days. No one knows what's wrong with me. They still don't know why I had a
they
heart
still
transplant. You
don't
understand?
know.
I know why.
Yeah.
It's not from here. You understand? The vaccine probably did it, but it's not from here. It's not
Yeah.
from here. Do you
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
It's
It
not,
was
no one understands why this happened.
there was like
They don't know.
predetermined.
No, no one knows.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's stay with me.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So they're coming in I'm in the bed 9 days. They think I have tuberculosis. They think this orange stuff is tuberculosis. So they're coming in with hazmat suits for 9 days, telling me that I might need a mitral valve replacement, a heart transplant. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been working out since I'm 14 years old. What are you talking about, heart transplant? I was working out 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? I stopped only working out for like 2 weeks because I started to get really sick. That's how
Mm,
I knew I was really, really sick. Like I
mm,
couldn't work out. I've been working out for 30 years in my life. So what's the odds that I'm in the bed on May 18th? I have a pump in my groin now. They're talking about putting a pump in my chest called this impeller pump. Okay. So they're gonna put 13 staples in my chest and put this pump in my chest.
mm.
That's going to see if my heart is going to recover.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, what's the odds on May 18th? I have this medium appointment.
On May 8th, the same day?
May 18th. I go into the hospital May 8th. I'm in the hospital now 10 days in a
Okay.
bed. I haven't been able to get out of the bed. And I
Okay.
have the appointment that I made with the medium in February.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What did she tell you?
So, I want to talk to my dad. And my wife's like, I don't want you to. And I'm like, well, I don't really care because none of this makes sense.
Yeah.
So I told you some of my doctors were from New York.
Yeah.
One of the doctors' father-in-law was in the mafia. There's a town of 20,000 people in Temple, Texas that doesn't exist in Temple, Texas. One of the other doctors went to the same college as my wife, Wagner College. She baked her favorite rainbow Italian cookies out of nowhere. You see, like when you wake up, you see things.
Mm.
You see, like, what's really going on.
Yeah.
Most people don't see what's really going on.
Yeah. So you have all
So
these like crazy New York connections
that are
with doctors in this
in
tiny.
this in this tiny little town, well, maybe I don't have them. Maybe so. So you could Google my name and you could find out stuff about my family and all this stuff, right? But the doctor knew everything about my father. The medium knew everything about my father. I talked to her. And she goes like this. She goes, oi, how the hell does she know this? She goes, all your doctors from New York? I said, yeah. She goes, your father sent them there for you.
Mhm.
Then she goes like this to me. She goes, he keeps telling me about a birthday and a pendant and a chain. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So the next day, my my mom comes in. My dad's mother died when he was 14. I go, she knew everything, Mom. She knew everything about Daddy. I said, how'd she know all these doctors were here? But she had two things wrong. She said, she said that she's telling me about a pendant and a chain and a birthday. She goes, today's your grandmother's birthday. She goes, the pendant and the chain, when your dad died, your Aunt Dolores gave a pendant of your grandmother to me with a chain. I gave it to your Aunt Camille, my dad's sister. I'm sitting in the bed. I FaceTime my Aunt Camille. She's wearing the pendant and the chain that I don't know about. You understand what I'm saying?
That's wild. So
Yeah.
that's confirmation that it's a message from your dad. That's confirmation.
And then at that moment, I knew, I said to myself, all this did happen, that out of body experience did happen, all this did happen, and all these people are here for a reason. And here's the difference. You might not have been here before, but you've been here before. You've
Mhm.
been in messed up situations before. You've been in situations in your life that prepared you where you didn't know if you were going to get out of before. You've been in jails, you've been in hospitals, you've been in rehabs, you've been in really bad street things where you didn't know. But here's the difference. Maybe you've not been here, but you've been in really crazy situations that most human beings have never faced. But the difference is this time, you're walking with God. You're walking with tools. You're walking with a different vibration and a different frequency. So, with that being said, let's get up, bro. And then you got to learn how to walk again. So they put the impeller pump in my chest and I get 13 staples and I'm an opiate addict. See, I was born in the dark. You understand? I was
Yeah.
born, it's bigger. I need water. It's bigger. No, it's bigger than me. All of this
Yeah.
is bigger than
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I was born into the dark. I know how to lead in that.
Right.
I know how to lead in the street. I know how to lead in the dark. I know how to lead in the light. I know why I'm here. It's been through this dark and this light that's been after. There's yin and yang in everything, in our world, in all of us.
Mhm.
So I know, and I feel like my spirit's strong. So I knew even with this, it was another test. What are you gonna do? You're weak right now, all this. Ibuprofen I take, 13 staples, and it's 10 steps. And then it's like 20 steps because they know him. And I'm like, yeah, I was addicted to opiates. I'm not taking nothing. Ice and
Oh my
ibuprofen, 13
God.
staples while I got a pump in my chest. And when you're down, remember this, all the listeners and you, when you're at your lowest, because I just survived death, when you're at your lowest, what you need, because life is truly, and your frequency, right? Your currency is your frequency, and life is truly a mirror. When I smile at it, it smiles back. So, and I know because I own a substance abuse and mental health facility, and I've worked in treatment for a long time, and I'm in recovery, and I help so many people. I know that what it's like to take care of people. I know what that's like, and I'm the one now being taken care of. So what am I doing? I'm showing a lot of love, a lot of empathy and compassion towards my caretakers,
Mhm.
towards the people in the unit, and I start to walk. I start to walk 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles a day in the ICU unit. You know how many times you got to walk around the ICU unit to walk five
Miles.
miles a day? 5 miles a day. I'm doing squats. I'm doing 5 miles because
You're an
I know,
animal.
and I'm bringing love and light. I got old people. I got the other old people walking around, waving at me. I got everyone walking in the unit, and you're hearing code blue. Code blue means someone
Oh,
has died.
shit. Yeah, someone needs a
Somebody's
jolt.
dead. Yes.
Yeah.
So here I am showing up as the greatest version of myself. Why? Because of God, because of recovery, personal development. And what am I doing? In the darkest of times, I'm serving. I'm
Yeah.
serving in the darkest of times.
That's
I'm bringing
intense,
light
Frank.
and love
Yeah.
in the darkest of times because those are my non-negotiables of how I'm going to show up literally in my death. In my death, I'm still showing up as the man I developed for my son, for his future generations, to show him through my actions. And you know what they did in the ICU unit? They got me a Superman cape. Every time I walked out of the unit, they put the cape on. It's on my Instagram, and they play the Superman music.
That's so
They
amazing.
have a plaque of me in the hospital right
And
now.
this is all prior to getting a heart transplant, right?
This is waiting to see if I need one. You
Oh,
understand?
that's wild.
Never a victim.
Yeah.
I got the confirmation, and then I said in that time, what's the gift in this, and what am I going to become because of it? And I started to write the book.
Ah, that's when you
I
started
started
writing.
to write the book for my son so that if I were to die,
Oh,
he would
yeah.
have the blueprint and know where dad came from, what he
Yeah.
overcame, how he did it, so that him and his future generations can. Do you understand? I'm the one.
Yeah. The chain
You understand?
breaker.
And I wrote it for him. And the book became a bestseller in 3 countries. And I became a coach and a motivational speaker, and I have multiple businesses because of it could have been victim. It could
Right?
have been I'm in a ditch. Why did I get here? Who gives a shit? Who cares?
Who
Who
cares?
cares why it happened? It happened.
Yeah.
I can't change it. But what I could do is recreate. I could have the vision of where I'm going. I
Yeah.
could bring in the non-negotiables of how I'm going to show up to create that vision. Cut out all the people. Look, that's the other thing this thing teaches you is who's real.
Ah, the people in your life. Yeah.
Oh, and then you get real clear on how precious your time is and who you're going to give it to.
Mm.
So now I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm doing squats and now I got to go in and see because they're going to see if my heart's going to recover and it doesn't. So now I'm in there for like 3 weeks. I haven't even seen my son. Could you imagine?
He's not allowed to come in?
I don't want him to see me. How do I talk to him? He's
Oh,
6 years old. I
he
have
says.
wires in my neck. I have this giant machine. What do you say to him? How
Yeah.
do I talk to him? What is my life gonna look like? Now I need a
Yeah.
heart transplant, then an arm debridement, then a skin graft surgery.
Oh, is that why he's discolored? He had a skin graft?
Oh yeah. They have to now
Wow, that's
debride my arm
intense.
this much. That much of my
Oh,
arm was missing. Yeah. Yeah. So now they got to do that. And I
yeah.
got to wait for that to grow back so that they could take a piece of my leg. So I'm like, well, that's good because now they're telling me because you're O positive, you're going to be on the list for 6 to 8 weeks. And I already been there 4 weeks. And
Oh,
so now I'm like, okay, now, like when you get on a list, you gotta get qualified because your two options are the LVAD machine
mm-hmm.
or the heart transplant. And like the LVAD is a machine that goes into your heart and
Yeah.
wires come out of your stomach and it plugs
Oh,
into a socket for 18 hours, the belt for 6 hours, and you get 18 hours of charge. Yeah, could you imagine May 8th waking up and this is your reality? God is everything, God is nothing.
mm,
This is not page 23. God is everything, He is nothing.
yeah,
Not page
that's
23.
intense.
You're
Yeah.
not page, no, but Jimmy said in the meeting to sound good. God is everything, He is nothing.
Now it's real.
So here I am now. I got to see a social worker. I got a colonoscopy, my teeth. I got to see a psychologist. They want to know what you do for a living. They want to know if you could afford your medication, if you even get it qualified. You got to go through all, then you see and you sit and you wait and hope that you could even get a heart transplant. But you're like, this is all like, oof, coming at me super fast.
That's so scary.
All of it.
Yeah.
So then they say, yeah, you could get a heart. So June 1st, I get the arm debridement, and I'm like, all right, good. I'm gonna wait 6 to 8 weeks. The arm will get better because then once you get a heart transplant or any transplant, you're on medication, anti-rejection meds, where it lowers
Oh,
your immune system for the rest of your life. Like when I get sick, I get sick. Like 100 fever for me is like 104 for you. You know what I mean?
okay.
I've
Yeah.
experienced it already. And so it's like your immune system is always compromised for the rest of your life, which is why I'm like even more
So
disciplined with my
careful.
foods and how I eat and work out. And um, anyway, so June 1st, I get the arm debridement, and then they come in on June 2nd and they say, you're gonna get a heart tomorrow, Mr. Parisi, one day.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's like,
And
it's just all. I used to get really like emotional about this stuff, and sometimes I do. But now I'm just, it doesn't, none of it's shocking me anymore because
yeah.
there's more, there's more.
Yeah.
So then I get the heart transplant, and it's like, what do you do like before you go into a heart transplant, and like you like waiting for someone to die, and like, what are you doing with that? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
what are you gonna do with that? Like, what are we all doing with ourselves, with this gift of like this body and this life?
yeah.
Most of us don't think of it. I didn't think of it as in depth as I have after everything I've been through.
Yeah.
But I always then I ponder why did none of us think in these manners? Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
It's really like honor it, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's wild. So you have the
n-
heart transplant. When do you
and
meet?
when I get out of it, I'm on my ventilator and I'm awake. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Were you
And
surprised?
if Yeah, it happened like 3 times to me. I was on the ventilator. So I come out, I'm in massive pain, but I write. And this is why love, gratitude, service, these are high frequencies that we can operate from emotionally, right?
Mhm.
And as soon as I come out of the heart transplant, if you go, you see it everywhere. You go on my stories today on my Instagram, you'll see it. It says, it says, I don't care about my pain. I am grateful to feel to be alive. You
Yeah.
understand? On a ventilator with 95 tubes in me, in every part of
Yeah.
my body, and a new human's heart in my chest. In the
Ooh.
most severe pain of my life, and now I have to take the pain medication. You understand?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's like that dog coming at me at my lowest of times, like, come on, here's a little bit of something that you might need right now because I know you're at your lowest. You don't know what your future's gonna look like. Nah, I do. I'm gonna take it because I have to, because they just sawed my chest open.
Right. Dude, that is intense.
And they just debrided my arm. And when they debride my arm, you could go check all this stuff out because it's all documented. It's all over. I have reels with them cleaning my arm and me just shaking violently and like
I will not be
25,
watching that.
25 days of that. 25 days of feeling like someone's putting actual gasoline and fire on your arm for 24 hours. I would have to take Oxycontin Dilaudid in the hospital and then Oxycontin because I still have to get the wound care after.
I can imagine.
But you know what? I saw what was happening. I saw it was like the dark trying to get me back, but it was like, I'm gonna play with you so I can be with the light. I'm gonna use you like you think you're using me. Heal me so I could be able to be doing this with you,
Right, 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 right.
everybody. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
My whole
absolutely.
experience ain't about me. It's this game that's been going on for like my soul, my whole life. It's crazy. It's like
Yeah.
these tests. And I know. So then I came out and I get the transplant and I build the body and I build the mind and I lose the income and I lose the business partners and the
Mm.
family and the friends. And I sit with God and I still serve and I still trust. And then it all came. It all comes. All of it comes. It all comes. All the business comes. The partners come because it needs to be removed. The heart had to be removed. It had too much generational curses. It had too much old trauma. Do you understand? Spiritual has nothing to do with anything here.
Yeah.
I'm the one in my family to change the future generations of my lineage.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. And to serve in everything that I do on a grander scale, things like this that I get to do with you here today.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here. That's it. And
I
that was
can
the
I can
deal I
I can affirm
made.
that is why you're
Now
here.
listen to this.
You are
Why
doing
is
it.
it in the summertime I randomly get the mail on a Friday night and it's my donor's family? It's my donor's family. And the parents are divorced, so the I speak to the mother, they're divorced, and I speak to the father. I connected with the mom. She's a wonderful woman. She's nice. And I talked to the father, and the father's renewing his vows the next day with his wife of 10 years in Longview, Texas, which is like 4 hours from where I live, and invites me and my family to come out. And my donor, I go out there and I walk his mother-in-law down the aisle,
Wow.
and I participate in the ceremony the first time I ever meet any of them, and they all listen to her heart, and I have a 19-year-old girl's heart in my chest. Her name is Kaylee Bearden, and she died in a car accident. And her little sister, who was in the car with her, listened to her heart. Do you understand, like, what's going on in my life? They
Mhm.
all listened to her heart and sat there and cried. I could cry right now. And they cried with me. Like, I sat there for them. You understand? To to do that with another human being and look in my eyes. No, like stay with me, like and feel it with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
It's bigger than here. We're on a ball of mass in space. There's more things going on. You understand? I
Mhm.
knew when I was in the hospital that God was using me for bigger things. I knew that had nothing to do with me,
Mhm.
everything that I was going through. I didn't know that 13 and a half years ago when I was getting sober that my life had nothing to do with me, but it didn't. It had everything to do with my son and his future generations. And I get to help so many people today through my journey and my story.
Mhm.
And that is why God put me through everything that I've gone through in my life. You know, it's all for the blessings and the greater
Mhm.
good.
So powerful. Poor
It's
Katie. What's her
beautiful,
name?
though.
Yeah,
So
really.
listen to this. Listen to this because I keep telling you, it keeps getting more crazy. 2 weeks before, I cry like every day.
You're ruining my makeup, Frank.
I'm sorry.
I'm playing. That
Two
is.
weeks before I'm here, my niece is here with me. Okay, my niece. All right. My niece has needed a kidney transplant her whole life. I go through this. I show her. Because, like, you would never know that I went through a heart transplant. My body does not look like that. I am
You
in
do,
great shape for
you do not
45 years old.
you do not look like you have a
And everything that I've done over the past 18 months, wrote a book, businesses, coaching, motivational speaking, everything I've done, I've shown her, traveled.
Mm,
What's the odds that I like have a following now on social media and I get to do a call to action for my niece, and like 20 people go and get tested to be a donor for her.
mm,
You know, like what's the odds that the day of her workup is the day that I died, which is May 8th.
Wow.
What's the odds that one of the people that go and get tested for is my donor sister?
No.
Yeah.
Your donor sister?
Yeah, tested for my niece.
Oh, she did. Did she test
Yeah.
positive? Was she positive?
I don't know, but I just know that like what is all this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ooh.
You know? Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot. But I
Yeah.
now I'm like I'm crying, but I'm not like I see it all the time.
Yeah.
What's really going on?
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
think everyone has that opportunity to really see it. We just get
Yeah.
so caught up in breakfast, lunch, dinner, making money, and what am I going to do for fun that we don't really stop and see what's really going on.
Yeah. Yeah. The spiritual connections that we all have underneath everything.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
wild. Ooh, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, that was so intense.
So intense.
And this is all in your book. So you go through all this, I don't even know what to call it. Like that is wild. That is wild. Like every twist and turn is wild. And you come out on the other side, you're like super healthy now. You're living this life of purpose. And I wanted to transition a little bit to talk about, the abundance, right? Because you're right. We get caught up. I love how you put that breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And what are we going to do for fun? Right? We do. We get like mired in our own little bubbles. And so when you're talking about abundance, you don't just mean financial abundance. Tell me,
No, I'm not even talking about
you're
financial
not even
abundance
talking about that. Okay, my mind always goes to
because
money, but you tell
because
me.
because no, because listen, I need a tissue. Abundance
I'm
is
sitting here bawling my eyes out. My
the
nose is
tissue
running,
so
my eyes
bad. I'm gonna like wipe it all over. I swear. I'm kidding.
Is there anyone there to help you?
God is so good. When the power of the universe, the spirit, whatever you are, you are
Yeah.
so good. Anyway, abundance is this because, listen, I come from hard, but I also experienced good. My father, like took me to Super Bowls. He took me to World Series. He took me to NHL Stanley Cups. But my home never vibrated.
Mm, mhm,
It never had a vibration of like calmness and love and stability and like compassion
mm,
and guidance. So like I see this a lot with people, especially men that make money that I know, like it's like they fall off.
yeah.
They make money and then they're not good dads. And then like they cheat on their wife, and then they're like gambling, you know.
Mhm,
Eventually they're getting high and it's like, so what that's not abundance.
mm-mm,
Abundance is how I vibrate and how my home vibrates. That's abundance. And in my book, I talk about my 5 pillars of faith, family, health, hustle, and purpose. I think when we pour into that for me, it's created abundance in my life because I'm always working on different things for myself. I
mhm,
work on my faith daily. Make sure I pour into my family daily. I pour into my health daily. I pour into my business, my hustle daily. You know, my
mhm,
purpose of serving others. These are all daily habits. These are things and I teach people this stuff as well.
mhm. So you have this all in your book, but you do coaching as
I
well?
do. I do one-on-one coaching,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna release some courses for people to be able to buy to do on their own.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What do you have like a specific process for your coaching, or is it just
I,
tailored to each individual?
no, I mean, I usually help people to create like what is the greatest version of themselves.
Mm,
So really getting detailed with that, and then we're gonna create like the how to, like, well, how are we doing this? That's great with this idea, but what's the how, And then like from the how is like, okay, what are the guiding principles that we're gonna use that are gonna guide us daily, the non-negotiables that we're gonna show up in? Like for me, it's service, right? Like I'm dying and I'm
mm,
still serving. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
non-negotiable.
yeah,
These are things that are non-negotiable, but I take them through my pillars after we create the vision and get through that. And then we go through different exercises. There's like a whole course, depending on how long you stay with me. But you're definitely moving your body as well. You're doing workouts. We're going to move with different nutrition, healthy foods. I have all diet plans for people as well as, but that's just one pillar.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like just people look at me and they're like, oh, it's a fitness guy. And it's because I'm like in great shape, but it's not. It's a manifestation of my mind.
Um, yeah,
It has nothing to do with the physical. It's my mind, it's creation, everything that we're doing. We are the great I am. So it's like
yeah.
people have these limited beliefs about themselves. And it's like if you watch my journey, it's like nothing is like there's no ceiling except the one that you put on yourself. You truly are the great I am, but you have to create that person to be able to match what it is that your vision is. You can't just like say I'm gonna go make $5 million. You have to create that person that could go make $5 million.
Yeah. I love that. I find that like especially in like recovery, it's a process of like recovering your whole self. And it's like a process of like emerging. Like it's really a shedding of all the things, like all the armor that we put on to survive. It's like a shedding of all that. And then our true self emerges. And I love this idea of sort of like reinventing yourself. Like addiction is like, I always say it's like the best, worst thing that ever happened to me. It's like a near death experience in and of
It is.
itself, right?
Absolutely.
And but then it's a process of like your authentic self emerging.
Absolutely. And it's always
Yeah.
good to keep evolving and having different versions of self. And
Yeah.
It's like I think we go through that as we age, right? Different evolutions of ourselves. And, it's good to be a dynamic individual, I feel. I've lived
Yeah.
many lives within this life, which
Yes, you
I feel like
have.
if you were to like watch my life
Yeah.
on TV, you'd be like, that's a pretty cool life. I would want that life then. I don't
Yeah.
want to watch, the guy that just lived the vanilla life his whole life. That's probably not a good movie. I don't think anyone would want to watch that. When I review my life after this, like
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
I hope you have a movie script in the works.
I mean, there's a few that are out there. There's a few directors that have come to me, so I think it's gonna happen. I'm putting it out in the universe. There's
Yes,
possibilities. No, I've had some actual screenwriters talk to me about it.
that's super cool. I actually know a writer I would love to introduce you to.
Let
He's
me
an
know. Let's get the funding and get it out. I think a series would be
yeah.
better though, because this like it could go on for like so long. It's like start at my as I get the
all
kid
the all the
all the
twists
way
and
through.
turns. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. And you're not done. Yeah,
I am
I love
just
your
getting
passion.
started. Like I feel that way.
Yeah, I could see that. I see that for
I
you.
feel like I'm getting
Yeah.
restarted again. It's like the new
Yeah.
evolution. The new
Yeah.
evolution. It's beautiful.
It really
I'm
is.
so
Yeah.
grateful for all of it. I wouldn't change anything that's happened in my life. I am so grateful for everything. It's given me a whole new perspective. I have a whole new circle in my life today. Because I audit that frequently. I audit how I feel. I observe myself
Yeah.
often. I observe myself and how I feel around people.
Hmm.
Because I'm around a lot of people. So it's like I have to be aware of that and move in that vibration. And like that's really what it comes down to. What you said is like having true integrity with myself, honoring myself, knowing what I need, my true authentic self, honoring myself in my authenticity and in my integrity and in my honesty. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? These core values and only
Yeah.
moving with people that are in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I bet people self-select in and out of your life pretty quickly. Like the people that are really dedicated and committed to the path. stay with you,
Hmm.
and the people who can't hang find other ways of learning lessons, I suppose.
Yeah. Because listen, our time is so valuable and limited. And when you go through what I've gone through,
Yeah.
it's like I got very clear on who I am as a man, what my non-negotiables are. And it's not like good or bad. Like everybody was here to teach us lessons. It's
Mhm.
not like I have any
No
anger or
judgment.
no, it's just like it's not you're not part of the journey anymore. And it's I
Mhm.
wish you well. It's just not on this journey with me, you
Yeah.
know? I
Yeah.
want you to win better than me. Just I'm not walking with you no more.
Yeah.
And there's no attachment to it.
Protect your energy.
Yeah, yeah. And when we bring the correct energy in, and once we get it clear on who we are, on our negotiables, where we're going, how we're going to get there, and who's going to help us get there, and
Hmm.
only walk in that, shut the noise. And the noise may be a heart transplant. The noise may be, your mom has cancer. You have to stay focused on your evolution, your elevation, your growth, your path, your creation. You have,
Yeah.
like for me, I have to stay focused on that only. I
Only.
could feel the other things, but I cannot let it maneuver which way I'm going to go in life.
Yeah. Wow. Listen, you gave me so much to think about. I don't usually take this many notes. I try to be present. But wow, you said so many amazing things. I'm gonna be sitting with us all day today. I know people are gonna want to reach out to you and connect and learn more about the kind of work that you do. Where can they find you?
Sure, I'm on Instagram at Frank Parisi 2011. I'm very active on there. I'm on LinkedIn, Frank Parisi. I'm on TikTok, Frank Parisi 2011, Facebook, Frank Parisi. I have my coaching website is frank-parisi.com/coaching. I own a mental health and substance abuse facility for adolescents and adults in San Antonio, Texas, called Emotion Wellness. That's emotionwellness.com. And we also have a partner in another company called Pick'em Technology. It's a gaming app that I'm partners with Dominique Wilkins, Brian Stone, Darren Prince, and
Oh, Darren.
Paul Ashmore. And it's an app designed to help people get off of gambling and bring the love back into
Oh,
sports.
okay.
And without gambling, you just win prizes, just picking teams in different tournaments. So there's a need for everything. And everything that I'm doing, I'm serving. You can also find my book on Amazon. It's Embrace Abundance by Frank Parisi. So, yeah.
I will leave links to all of this.
I
There's
know,
the
I'm sorry,
book.
it's like so much stuff, but I'm not stopping. I love life. We are the
Yeah.
great I am. We are the creators. We are the connectors. We are the servers. We are the evolvers and the elevators. The rising tide raises always all boats. So always say,
Mm.
keep your sword sharp, keep evolving, keep elevating, keep creating, keep serving, and you will live a life of abundance. This is so true.
I
Had nothing to do with
love
money.
that.
Had nothing to do with money. The money will come as a result of all of that.
Yeah. Listen, such a gift to be with you today, Frank, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for spending time with me and just delivering your whole heart. Love it. It
Thank you.
was so
Not my heart.
powerful.
It's Kaylee's heart. It's
I
my
know. As soon
spirit.
as I said that, I was like, oh,
It's my spirit. I
yeah.
have female DNA. See, I literally changed the DNA. You understand? I have her DNA.
That's
Like
amazing.
God was
She
like, not
lives
only are you
on
gonna
through
change
you.
it through the love in your home, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna literally give you some good female DNA.
Miracles. Oh my goodness. Well,
Right?
Frank, thank you so much. We're going to land the plane there. I'm going to leave links to all your things, but thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on. Stay in touch.
I will.